Alright, welcome back to Assassin's Creed 4. We are in Abstergo. We're moving right along, discovering all the stuff that Abstergo is hiding in its computers. You'd think that it wouldn't be in these computers, but it is, because it's Abstergo. And they just don't care enough to put these things elsewhere. But it's here. And, if it was here, you'd think that it would be on, only Olivier's computer and Melanie's maybe, but not anywhere else. But no, it's all over the place. So they're just terrible at compartmentalization and just data in general. They're like the worst. But let's continue on and see what other secrets they have for us. And finally we're in. That was probably the hardest one yet that I've done. Chat archive. Everybody's working on the weekend. Olivier, I need your guys to get me everything on the observatory by the end of Friday at the latest. Can you do it? Melanie, no. Are you crazy? We don't even know where it is yet. And Friday's a holiday. Olivier, a holiday? Really? Do your people realize that working here is a privilege? If they care about their jobs, they'll come in and it will be an honor. And no, I'm not crazy. I'm getting a lot of heat from Leisha if we don't get it done. She'll take it on Devils, and all our work will be lost. Mel, ugh. Does she even know how anything works here? Olivier, she has her own pressures. Mel, I realize that, but we're already working overtime. And when are we going to discuss how the plot of Devils has to change to accommodate the observatory business? How am I going to sell this? We're not going to. It's too sensitive, Olivier. Mel, so we're just collecting the memory for no reason? Olivier, not for no reason. Leisha will use them. Mel, this is ridiculous. You want us to devote our lives to finding information we are not allowed to develop or understand or use in any way. It won't help sales, and my people will never see their work rewarded in public. How am I supposed to motivate them? Olivier, I don't know. Get them breakfast. Pain au chocolat. Coffee. Pretend to sneak in some coffee liquor, a little beer with lunch. Feed them. They'll forgive you. Mel, again, they're not going to keep falling for this. Olivier, yes, they will. Bread and circuses. Look it up. It's a thing. Mel, come on, be serious. Olivier, I am being serious. Remember, none of this comes from me. Leisha needs what she needs. If you want the project to continue, we have to keep her happy. The observatory doesn't have anything to do with pirates anyway. It would only complicate things. Take the focus off the action. Mel, but it's fascinating. I realize it's more mature and complex. I can't believe I'm the one arguing this, but we are crazy not to use it. Imagine, we could be selling to pirate fans and conspiracy theorists all at the same time. The potential for market growth is huge. Olivier, we cannot use it, so please stop asking. Mel, this is insane. Olivier, as you already know, Melanie, this company is a subsidiary of Abstergo Industries. And Abstergo Industries has a different culture. They are hierarchical and rule-driven. We may not always like it, but if we want to advance in this company, we have to be careful. Mel. You're protecting her. Olivier. I'm protecting you. I know we have our arguments from time to time, but I know you care deeply about our work, and I don't want you to get yourself ejected from the conversation. We need you. Olivier, do you understand? Mel, yeah, I get it. Pick my battles. It's common sense. I don't know why this one thing is bothering me so much right now. I'm just tired. Olivier, so I don't need to find someone else to help me. Mel, no. We'll get it done somehow. Olivier, I will personally bring the coffee liquor for breakfast. Mel, LOL, thanks. I'll find some way to get them excited about it in the meantime. Olivier, if it makes you feel any better, I can tell you a secret. Mel, what? What? Olivier, if we are successful with the observatory, Abstergo may develop a Las Vegas attraction to accompany the release of devils. Mel, what? Olivier, they're looking into a partnership with those aquatic circus people you like. Imagine celebrating with the whole team at a live-action gladiator show. Assassins versus Templars versus pirates versus sharks. Mel, whoa. I am in awe. How do you come up with this stuff? Olivier, oh, I have all kinds of little things saved in files here and there. I always think I'll get around to doing something with them in a quiet moment. Mel, but there are never quiet moments. Oh, well, you'll retire someday. Olivier, not if I'm lucky. Mel, me neither. That's what I like about these two. They actually do seem passionate about the job that they're doing currently, not the job that their senior people want them to be doing. They want to develop games and movies and this and that. And, the other people higher up, they only care about the observatory and whatnot. But it is kind of sad for them. Alright, and from here, if you remember, we were at the entrance, exit, which we can't leave. And let's finally hit up this last room, the server room. We went in there before. It's just a little server area with a computer screen. Hardly even a computer, but whatever. We can hit that up and then go to upstairs. Figured I'd show you the code to this one, 22777. And then after this, there's another security type deal, so we'll do that. And then we can gain access.
Surrogate Initiative, Test Session 37, August 9th, 1981. Host Eileen Bach, DNA sample SB1970.
Open! Good morning, Miss Kurtz. You look well, considering the circumstances. Are you rested? Have you eaten? Your friends are dead, Miriam. Bartel Schink and all his navigos, his Edelweiss pirates, executed for 5 counts of murder.
Just a trial. You must be proud.
There was no need! They were scum! All of them! You hear me? All of you are scum! Scum! Scum!
I see it so clearly now. She didn't break, did they? You have nothing.
Quiet, girl!
You don't have the artifact. If you did, you wouldn't be talking to me at all. None of your slaves thief!
I said
None of your slaves thief! None of your slaves thief!
Get her out! Get her out! We're losing her! Shut it down! Everything! Eileen, open your eyes. Can you hear me? Eileen! Eileen! Power's off! Get the position in here! Step aside, son! Eileen, talk to me. Can you open your eyes? Clear! Oh, God, no spots.
Well, we already know that Eileen was pushing herself way too hard. Maybe going through that traumatic event memory kind of intensified everything, and like you said, she was kind of... It affects people in different ways, so...
All right. Notes towards a speech in honor of Dr. Eileen Bach's premature retirement. When I first learned of Dr. Bach's unfortunate accident, I couldn't help but feel a great sense of loss at... No. Dr. Eileen Bach has and always will be a friend and colleague. When I first learned of her unfortunate accident, I was shocked, of course. To see any friend injured in such a way is deeply upsetting. And to further learn that her injuries were severe enough to force a premature conclusion to her brilliant career, well, I would not wish that fate on anyone. But if there is any solace to be found in her accident, it may be this: that she was injured in service of her research, in service of work that she cherished most dearly. And it is thanks to her, it is due to her diligence, that some of the mysteries of genetic memory have been further illuminated. And while it is true that work on her project, the Surrogate Initiative, as she called it, has been temporarily halted, the copious amount of work she has done over the past 3 years has been incredibly valuable. So while her work has been suspended for the time being, her legacy will most certainly live on. Quiet, Joan! Quiet!
I don't see Vidic as a cat-dog person. Anybody can be a cat-dog person. I won't, judge, really. I don't see the character as having a cat or a dog. Mostly because they are in Abstergo all the time. They just don't have time for that. He must be doing that speech for somebody at Abstergo. I don't think it's a... what do you call it? A memorial speech or whatever. I don't think it's one of those. All right. First computer is right in front of us. It's the secretary's desk. Let's get into this thing.
Our initial reports gave us hope that Enzio Auditore would serve as an ideal candidate for future Abstergo projects. His charisma, sexual magnetism, and wry humor gave him all the qualities of a leading man. However, his corruption by the Assassin Order robbed him of these qualities as he fell deeper and deeper into a spiral of revenge. Enzio was frequently known to articulate a passive acceptance of evil. He was also a man of ugly contradictions, one who preached free thought, yet traveled well beyond his home country to proselytize his corrupted creed. Just as he's doing here with this impressionable Chinese girl. Notice, too, that in his gestures and bearing there is still something of the old lecher in him. Enzio's entire personality is built around pure demagoguery, claiming his philosophy is about love when violence and coercion are his primary means of tackling problems. We have therefore come to the conclusion that Enzio Auditore da Firenze would be a risky character to develop.
I like how they're even considering all these things. You'd think that if they wanted to move along their agenda, they would end up doing it to Templar characters, not assassin characters. You know? I mean, don't give any secrets away, but, oh, this guy was a great person, or this lady was a great... she did these great things, or, you know, whatever. But it seems like we're gonna try and focus on the assassins and see where that gets us. We don't need to dig into any Templar stuff, even though they do. By doing this, I mean, they're making the assassins the good guys on their own. So I don't know. Anyways, here we go.
Surrogate Initiative, Test Session 32, January 11th, 1981. Host Eileen Bach, DNA sample SB1970.
Miriam? Miriam, is that you? Are you in here?
Bartle!
Oh, thank God you're safe. You've been very sick.
Bartle! How did they find you? Oh, Jesus. What would they do to you?
Has they hurt you at all?
I told them nothing. All they do every day is ask about you and that artifact. But I didn't tell them anything. Nothing.
I know you didn't, Miriam. But how are you? You aren't hurt?
Not badly, no. I'm fine.
Good. We need to get the message out to Oscar. Somehow. We need to tell him where...
Very interesting footage, Eileen. This is Germany, you said, World War II?
Most of the memories I've been able to access come from a period where Miriam was imprisoned by Nazis in Cologne.
Miriam. Is she still alive?
No, she was my my ex-husband's mother. She passed away about 5 years ago.
Well, she was spirited. An impressive lady.
Definitely.
And the man, Bartle. He made reference to an artifact. Any idea what that is?
My team is looking into that, but it's not our first priority. We still need...
It is now.
Really?
You must have other recordings of this woman. Are there any other mentions of this artifact I should know about?
Half a dozen or so, yes. What's this about?
You have questions, I understand that. I don't have answers for you. Not right now, but I do have money. And if you get me those recordings and bring me any other artifact references you find, then I will triple your operating budget for as long as I can.
Triple my budget? My God, what is this?
9 a.m. Monday morning, my office. We have a lot to discuss.
But Lillian, I don't...
Have a good weekend, Mrs. Bach. Fantastic work.
Hello, this is Carl.
Hi, it's Eileen.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Busy. Cold. The winter's been terrible.
Seamus won't like that. The weather's been mild out here.
Well, he's only coming for a month. He'll live. And I'll be so busy he won't have to worry about his mother bothering him.
Still working 12-hour days.
I should move a bed into my lab.
Look, if you're too busy, Seamus can stay with me.
No, I want to see him. We'll have fun.
You're not too busy to be a mom and a genius.
Of course not.
His flight lands at 8:15 p.m. tomorrow night. You'll be there?
Of course. 8:15.
p.m. Let him know you'll be there.
Thanks, Carl. I need to run. I'm sorry. Take care.
You too.
Ah, Eileen. Didn't see you come in.
I'm not interrupting?
No, it's fine. The subject is unconscious. He's traipsing around 18th century New Orleans right now, in the memories of a woman.
That must feel odd. How long has he been under?
83 minutes.
Whoa.
It's average. What can I do for you?
I just wanted to thank you for sending Lillian to see me. She came away very impressed.
There. You see? All these bureaucrats need is a little glimpse of our secrets every so often. They like to feel like they're still in charge.
Lillian is most definitely in charge. She just tripled my budget.
Tripled? Christ, Eileen. You must have discovered who killed Kennedy.
Well, she heard something on one of my tapes that interested her. Something about an artifact. Very vague, but it was enough.
An artifact? What sort of artifact? Jesus, get him out of there! Get him out!
Oh my god.
It'll kill him! He's not decoupled! He's having a fucking seizure! Power down! Now!
Heart rate 170.
Power down! Now! Eileen, Warren here. I was all ready to apologize for the late call, but you seem to be away. Maybe with your son. Listen. Since the unfortunate incident with Subject 1, there's been a lot of dire talk around the office about my Animus project. About shutting it down. About it being unsafe. Typical top brass bullshit. And if they shut me down, then your surrogate initiative goes away too. I'm sure you're already well aware of that. Well, let me be the first to reassure you. This will not happen. I will not let them take this from me. From us. I will not let one death, of an undiagnosed epileptic I should add, I will not let this destroy the decades of incredible research done by our predecessors, and the 5 years I've spent perfecting the Animus. There's still more work to be done, and countless rewards to be reaped. So I wanted you to be the first to know. I have decided to volunteer myself as my second subject. I am convinced that the Animus is perfectly safe, provided I stay within the boundaries of my own ancestral bloodline. Next week I plan to prove this by staying a full 4 hours in the Animus. I would be grateful if you and your team would monitor my progress. And after this necessary but ridiculous proof of concept, I give you my word that I will work closely with you to solve your outstanding problems. Your surrogate initiative is a bold idea, and I do believe it is the future of the Animus project. But while we have the Animus itself, I do not want to waste precious opportunities to prove its safety. I'll see you in the office on Monday. Goodbye.
So Eileen's project is actually the more important project, in my opinion, according to the games, because the Animus was the one used in 1, 2, and 3, and now the surrogate project is the one used in this one. They're taking somebody else's DNA and using it to create all these memories or whatever. Yeah, and it sounds like SB1970, her test subject, is probably her son. Maybe they told us that before. I don't actually know, but that's what it sounds like to me. Oh, well, we're in. Enough talk.
Timestamp August 16th, 2013. The following audio clips were selected from over 160 hours of reel-to-reel tape found in the residence of the late Dr. Warren Vidic following his murder in December 2012. According to labels on the tape's canisters, these recordings were made over a 14-month period between 1980 and 1981 without the consent of their primary subject, Mrs. Eileen Bach, a colleague of Dr. Vidic's and the originator of Abstergo's surrogate initiative. Mrs. Bach is now deceased. It should be stated unequivocally that Dr. Vidic made these recordings illegally and of his own volition using wiretaps and hidden microphones. Abstergo Industries had no knowledge of his actions and disavows any responsibility for them.
And we're live. Capacitors at full. Ease the signal in. A little more. You feel anything?
Don't be timid. Double it.
No, we're taking it easy. 20%.
30.
Eileen, go easy. We're 6 past yesterday.
And boost the inputs.
Too risky.
Not if we split the I/O signals.
25%. Ease up.
Oh, okay. There. I see something.
What is it?
Mein Gott. I hear talking.
You're okay?
Ja, ich höre Stimmen. It's German. Mein Name ist Miriam Kurz. I see a light. It's cold. Ich werde nichts sagen. There's a man with me. Mehr werde ich nicht sagen.
Keep an eye on our vitals.
Mein Name ist Miriam Kurz und ich bin eine Navajo. Des Hitlers Zwang, der macht uns klein. Noch liegen wir in Ketten. Doch einmal werden wir wieder frei. Wir werden die Ketten schon brechen.
Eileen?
Denn unsere Fäuste, die sind hart, ja. Und die Messer sitzen lose. Für die Freiheit der Jugend kämpfen Navajos.
Switch off.
Powering down.
Kämpft Navajos.
Get her out of there. Oxygen from the valve.
No. No, Satish, I'm fine, really.
Quit the heroics. Just breathe. Better?
Yes. Yes, thank you. Did we get something?
It'll take a while to pass. What did you see?
It wasn't just seeing. It was feeling. Being. I was scared.
You were shouting in German.
I think I was in Germany. I was in Germany, Satish.
Good morning. Well rested?
Exhausted. Yesterday was an incredible find.
Seems so. What did it feel like?
It's foggy, but I relived the memories of a young German woman. Early 20s, I think. A man was interrogating me, looming over me and asking questions. He was shouting, but I was shouting back. And then this poem just came out, like a chant.
Fascinating. I'm eager for you to hear the tape.
Is it ready?
Yes, we transliterated the data onto an audio file. It took all night to process the language.
Spool it up.
Of course. Have a seat. Judging by the subject matter and the setting, I'd say you landed somewhere in Germany in the 1940s, 1 or 2 generations back. During the war, I'd imagine.
1940s Germany? That would be Miriam Kurtz, my ex-husband's mother.
So she's not related to you in any way?
God, I hope not. I'd hate to find out my ex-husband is also my brother.
Well, if it was Miriam Kurtz, then we hit a home run. You tapped into someone else's bloodline entirely.
Should we celebrate?
We'll listen first.
Surrogate Initiative, Test Session 23, July 29th, 1980. Host, Eileen Bach. DNA sample SB1970.
It's a little garbled at first. This is you settling into the memory.
Your name, say it.
My name is Miriam Kurtz.
Louder.
My name is Miriam Kurtz, and I am Navajo.
Where did you last see the artifact? Who holds it now?
I'll say nothing. I've told you all I will.
I don't believe that is true. Who has the artifact?
Hitler's dictates make us small, and you're bound in chains. But one day again, we shall walk tall. No binds will us restrain.
Enough!
For hard our fists, yes, and knives at our wrists for you to be free. Navajos lay siege.
Lock her away.
Navajos lay siege.
And that's where we pull you out.
Whoa. What would it take to get a visual render of all that?
Months, unfortunately. It took 13 hours just to process the audio. Visual takes much longer.
But Vidic is able to record audio and visual in real time. How does he do it?
His subjects are exploring their own genetic memories. That requires much less processing power.
Hold on, sorry. Eileen here.
Hello. You have 10 o'clock in Lillian's office. It's 10:13 now.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Tell her I'll be right there. And tell her we have some good news.
No problem.
You in trouble?
The monthly progress report. I'm trying to be honest about our progress, but no matter how much I polish our facts, Warren Vidic swoops in, promising the moon for pennies, and gets 10 times the funding for his animus project.
Well, we are using his animus technology. He's the foundation. We are the skyscraper.
Which is why he should be a tech lead, not a project director. Good work, Satish.
It's incredible footage, really. Clear and vivid. And the subject was synced for a full 62 minutes. Came out speaking French after his last session. Passably fluent. And with full recall of everything he'd gone through.
Sorry I'm late. I was reviewing some data.
It's fine. Warren was just telling me about his first subject, Mr.
No names. Call him Subject 1. Confidentiality.
And how about you, Eileen? What's your good news?
Well, we did it. We synced with an unembedded memory outside the bloodline. That's a first.
Really?
Satish was able to process the audio today. A short clip. You can hear it for yourself.
Only audio? No real-time memory feeds like Vidic has?
Well, that's the difficulty with surrogate genetic memory data. Because I'm viewing memories not embedded in my own DNA, we can't rely on my cognitive faculties to help me process the signal. All we can do is record the raw data and transliterate it later.
Hold on. You're running this experiment on yourself?
I am. It's going well.
I don't like the sound of that.
Look, the sample I'm using, the DNA comes from my own son. It's safer this way.
Ah, good thinking.
50% of my son's DNA is also mine, which reduces the danger by a huge margin. Meaning, I can now explore the memories of people who aren't directly related to me on his father's side.
But for brief periods of time, I imagine.
Right. Just a minute or two so far, but we're getting there. Come by the lab and listen for yourself.
I will, when I have a moment. Unfortunately, work beckons. Ladies?
That man is colder than a San Francisco summer.
Stay focused, Eileen. You both have important work to do.
Obviously. But my work requires his animus technology. I feel a little caged in.
That's collaboration, Eileen. It's how science works. I shouldn't have to remind you.
I know. I'm just tired. Stop by and see us today. We have a lot to share.
If not today, then this week sometime.
Thank you.
Well, apparently her project works extremely well. We're using it now, and it hasn't done anything to us. You'd think that a San Francisco summer would be pretty warm. I don't know what she was getting at there. And yeah, we got that it was her son's DNA that she was using, so figured it out. Alright, let's see what we got here. Must be like the designation. Angels is the title. Mama says Count Rosenberg will take care of us now. So long as Papa and Uncle John work for him. Our home is big, but Trebon is a small town. There's no space there. Mama seems happy. Prague, 1587, 1608 CE, Elizabeth Jane Weston. Elizabeth Jane Weston. I believe, isn't she like a poet or something? Let me look it up. Alright, the next one we have Love. Uncle John, everyone else calls him Dr. D, says that not all 5-year-olds can speak 3 languages or write as well as I do. I foretell a bright future for you, Lady Beth. I like reading, drawing, and writing poems. Well, there you go. Okay, we didn't need to look it up. But mathematics are hard. John Francis, my brother, is better at calculations than I am. He is 1 year older. Papa wants me to get the same opportunities as my brother. He says I am fortunate that not all young ladies have private tutors. I study hard to please him. We are fasting this evening. Master Kelly. Uncle John announces. Papa grins. I know what this means. They will be working all night again. After dinner, I run to the parlor and jump on Uncle's lap. His beard, unlike Papa's, is all white and rough. I ask him to tell a story. Uncle John makes everyone laugh, even Papa, who is usually so serious. He says they have to work now. Mama tells me it is time for bed. Pull the sheets over my head and listen to the low, humming voices coming from the study. I am afraid of the dark, but not tonight. Not with Papa and Uncle John praying. Not sure what this image is. This appears to be like a sash with some words burned into it around this orb. Perhaps it's just some sort of symbolism or something. There is a thing on the background on the floor. I can't tell what it is, though. Alright, next up is honesty. Papa needs to leave now to earn money. I know about money. We need it to eat and purchase things. I do not want him to go. I give Papa a big hug. And Uncle John, too. I wave at them until I can no longer see their carriage. How long will they be gone this time? I ask Mama about Papa's work. She says he gives conferences with Uncle John, providing advice to people who need it. John Francis says Papa communicates with angels. I laugh, but Mama does not. He told me, he says, crossing his skinny arms over his chest. After a long pause, Mama sighs. John Francis is right. Your father speaks with angels. He grins. He scratches her head. She scratches her head. She scratches her own head. Insight from them. Oh, he gains insight from them. I ask Mama what an angel is. She says it is a being from beyond, a winged entity that lives with God in heaven. I do not know what she means. John Francis says only Papa can call angels. Mama nods, says he has a rare gift. He uses a crystal ball, John Francis declares. Okay, so it was literally a crystal ball. I'm assuming an artifact. Okay, what do we have here? Maybe them at the conference? Small child over there. So honesty continues here. I seldom see Papa and Uncle John these days. They do not eat. They are fasting again and spend most of their time in the study. I wake up with a start and pull the blanket to my chin. It is still dark, but I hear voices downstairs. Taking a deep breath, I sneak out of bed. I walk down the stairs, avoiding the creaking ones. I fear monsters will jump out of the shadows, though Uncle John assured me he banished all monsters from our home. I tiptoe to the door of the study and put my ear upon it. I recognize Papa's and Uncle John's voices, but there is also another, much deeper voice within. A loud click They have unlocked the door. I hide behind the cabinet. Papa and Uncle John come out of the study and walk away smiling. I count to 100, then tiptoe toward the study. No one inside. Elizabeth, Papa says behind me. What are you doing? Papa makes me promise not to go into his study. There are things in there you should not see. There are 100 questions I want to ask him, but I can only nod. That's the study, looking like that's the study, and there's the crystal ball under that little sheet. Next is wisdom. I have never seen Papa and Uncle John so happy. They whisper and laugh at things only they understand. Mama says it is because they have done good work. I have finished my dinner and asked to be excused. Mama nods and I hurry upstairs. I notice that the door to Uncle John's room is ajar. I hurry to the door, holding my breath. I peek inside. The room is sumptuous. Uncle John always says Aunt Jane has good taste. And he is right. I tiptoe inside and open Uncle John's armoire. It is filled with treasure. Shiny rocks, a black mirror, a wax seal with pictures on it, a gold amulet. I ignore everything else. I pick up what looks like a globe packed in a cloth. Could it be the crystal ball John Francis mentioned? Quickly I unwrap it. The sphere is heavy and feels warm in my hands. It is made of the shiniest gold. On its surface, I see a reflection of my face and Uncle John's. Uncle John grabs the sphere and puts it inside his doublet. I shiver, but he smiles. You should not be playing with things you cannot comprehend, young Lady Beth. Demons. We have been in Trebin almost 2 years now. We are happy here, happier than we ever have been. Prague, 1587, 1608, CE, Elizabeth Jane Weston. Next we have Pride. Papa continues to work while Uncle John is away. He keeps to himself and barely addresses us during breakfast, but at least he is eating now. I am feeble today. Mama says I have a fever and tells me to stay in bed. I sleep all day and most of the night. I awake famished. I dislike the night, but I am not as afraid of it as I used to be. I get out of bed, careful not to make a sound. I do not want to wake anybody up. A pale light emanates from the study. The door is open. Papa never leaves the door of his study open. I creep toward the light on the tips of my toes. I sneak a peek inside. Papa leans over a table, reading a book. It has an odd, silvery tint. Papa suddenly mumbles an incomprehensible string of words and numbers. Papa sprinkles red powder on something upon the table. That must have been the picture that we saw just before. We started reading this part. I did it. His wide grin deforms his face. I did it. He picks up a clump of gold. Papa's guffaws make me shiver. His voice is deep and he speaks words I do not understand. I hurry upstairs and crawl back into bed. And in the picture, she's behind a tree looking at two figures. Could be Papa and Uncle, maybe. Yeah, we'll read on, maybe to find out. Next is greed. Oh, well, there we go. Probably figured it out. I notice Papa and Uncle John in the distance. I pick up my dolls and hide behind the tallest oak in the garden. I try not to laugh as they walk toward me. Papa tells Uncle John that they should change the nature of their work, that they should study alchemy and stop wasting time with angels. They pass by the oak. The book has boundless potential, Papa says. I need your help to unlock its formulas. I poke my head out. Uncle John frowns. We could work at the imperial court, Papa continues. Producing gold is only the first step. Uncle John turns to face him. I hide again, hugging my doll. You should not fiddle with this book, Kelly. I almost fail to recognize Uncle John's voice. You cannot imagine the evil it contains. It holds more than mere numbers. Papa protests, but Uncle John interrupts. Your associate, Master Hussey, the one who gave you the book, I dealt with him before. Long ago, he cannot be trusted. Papa says they could be rich beyond their wildest dreams. I take a quick glance. Uncle John shakes his head. No, my friend. The book will destroy you. Lust. Mama is in her room, crying. She has barely uttered 2 words in days, and I suspect she has not even spoken to Papa. She has been avoiding his gaze. I am reading when a loud clang makes me jump. Is John Francis acting up again? He can be such a baby sometimes. Another clash followed by a shriek, a woman's shriek. I put my book down and hurry to the door. Papa and Uncle are screaming at each other. I walk out of the bedroom. The shouting has stopped, but I hear sobbing now, coming from Uncle John's room. Is Aunt Jane hurt? The door of Uncle John's room suddenly bursts open. Aunt Jane cries out after her husband, but someone interrupts her. Papa. I feel the entire floor shudder as Uncle John slams the door shut. He glares at me, fire in his eyes. I am paralyzed. My eyes well up. Uncle John takes my hand and pulls me away. You should not be here. He drags me downstairs. You should not have seen this. Wrath. Papa and Uncle John seldom speak now. When they do, they shout, which makes Mama cry. Aunt Jane stays in her room. I wish I could do the same. I wake up jumping. Papa is screaming again. I close my eyes, wishing things would be as they used to, but I am old enough to know better. A door slams. I look out the window and see Papa walking toward the stable, shouting, "Envious fool!" I watch him disappear in the darkness. I run downstairs. Mama sits in the parlor sobbing. In silence, I crawl under the sofa. It's time for me to leave. Uncle John's voice is filled with sorrow. You will be missed, both of you. Wishing Uncle John good fortune. Mama leaves. I stay hidden and watch Uncle John pace the room. I quietly follow Uncle John to Papa's study. Producing a key, he looks over his shoulder and unlocks the door. At life's end, you will understand, old friend. Uncle John comes out of the study with Papa's strange silver book. I am doing this for your father. The secrets it holds are not meant for him. Monsters. Mama says she feels at home in Prague, but I do not. Papa will not let me do anything. He tells me the streets are not safe. We're still in Prague as Jane Austen, 1587. Next one is labeled Rumors, and as we see Prague, I don't know if those are trees or if that's smoke, but it's dark and whatnot. I like it when Papa brings me to Prague Castle. Oh, that must just be Prague Castle. It gives me a chance to escape from the house and spend time with him. He is seldom home these days. People from all over the world gather here, at the center of European culture, as Papa puts it. I wonder why important people frown so much. Papa speaks with an elderly gentleman. His flowing white beard reminds me of Uncle John's. I sigh and take Papa's hand. He does not seem to notice. We do not dare walk the streets. The old gentleman complains even during daytime. Papa nods, saying that Prague has never been so unsafe. You know why, Master Kelly? The Emperor. He leans close to Papa's ear. He is weak. He gives the people too much freedom. I heard that a killer runs amok, targeting noblemen and alchemists. There is a tremor in the old man's voice. They say he is a monster, a giant. Some say he is not even human, Papa declares. I squeeze his hand, wishing Uncle John could be here to banish the monsters of Prague. Next, we can see another photo, or painting, or whatever. Perhaps the old man that was with. They might be in his little alchemy room or something. I don't know. I don't think it's in Father's study. Anyways, the next one is Toil. For my 10th birthday, Papa will show me his workshop. Okay, it's his workshop. I will finally have a chance to see where he spends his days, and many of his nights. Most people we encounter ignore me as I follow Papa through the corridors of Prague Castle, but some scowl and roll their eyes when they see me. The windows in this part of the castle have been sealed off with bricks and mortar. Papa carefully locks every door he passes through. Papa's workshop is a treasure trove. There is a myriad of items here, each more wondrous than the next. Colored powders, ancient scrolls, amulets. Papa works all day, reading formulas, mixing powders, boiling liquids. I watch from afar, afraid to disturb him. His work is so important. Papa constantly mutters to himself. He blinks a lot and often glances over his shoulder. He makes me nervous, especially when he barks strange words. I cannot do it, howling. Papa throws a glass beaker to the floor. It explodes into 1,000 tiny shards. I cover my face. I need the book. Next we see a cult for the greater good. Alright, alchemists. Night has fallen when a young visitor interrupts Papa's work. He enters the workshop and announces that the Emperor has summoned his alchemists. Papa tells me to wait and warns me not to touch a thing. Then, frowning, he takes his hand and drags me along. He takes my hand and drags me along. You must remain quiet. We enter a dark room where a score of old men gather around a long table. Papa mentions me to stay behind with the assistants and apprentices. A large man in black clothes with white ruff and fur, with a white ruff and fur hat, enters. Everyone bows. I take a step back, hiding behind a lanky youth. The man, the Emperor, ? Sits at the end of the table, scrutinizing everyone in the room. When he raises his eyebrows, one of the alchemists jumps to his feet. My brother has seen the monster. The man squeaks like a mouse. It is wholly black, a demon. The alchemists discuss at length. My alchemists agree the killer, this monster, cannot be human. What if it is a homunculus? Papa suggests a deathly silence falls upon the room. Perhaps the images of their monster. The next one is titled Gollum. We leave Prague Castle before dawn. A score of guards escorts us and other alchemists for our safety. Why are there so many monsters in the world? Dawn creeps over the Vitava. Finally, we arrive at the house of the last alchemist. We will soon be home. No. Papa will not stop talking to him. I walk into the alley next to the man's house. 2 steps into it, and ouch, I bumped into an invisible wall. White eyes appeared in the darkness. I see it, the silhouette of a giant. Marks cover the monster's pitch-black forehead. No letters. Emmet. I stare at the white eyes. What are you? I have been called many names. The monster's voice is strange, guttural. Here they call me Gollum. Papa shouts, "Guards, run toward us. You have just saved your father's life, little one," it rasps. Gollum runs toward the river. I see it clearly now, a gigantic body, black and sinewy. The monster jumps in the river. I follow Papa and the guards behind me. I observe the water perfectly still, not a hint of Gollum. Ghosts. We have never discussed Papa's imprisonment. Not one word about it in over 3 years. Now that John Francis is away, I alone must care for Mama. Prague, 1587, 1608, CE, Elizabeth Jane Weston. What do we have here? It's an old man outside, perhaps Papa again, or maybe Uncle. The next one is entitled Nightmares. Papa will be released from prison today. But Mama worries. She says he has one last chance to satisfy the Emperor's expectations. Standing in front of the house, I hold Mama's hand. My heart beats quickly as I behold Papa's carriage. I forget to breathe when it stops 2 paces before us. Mama trembles when the carriage door opens. A pale, emaciated man with a long, grizzled beard steps out. Papa. He walks by us as if we were ghosts. Mama has prepared roasted lamb, Papa's favorite, to celebrate his return, but he does not eat. He simply stares at his plate, silent. Mama makes idle conversation, pretending, without much success, that nothing is wrong. Papa suddenly stands up. His chair hits the floor with a loud thud. Papa storms out of the dining room, pushing invisible spirits out of his way. He shouts in a strange tongue, the same language I once heard him speak when I was little. My heart is in a knot, but I hold back my tears. I take Mama's hand, but nothing I can do or say will ease her sorrow. What will we do now? Alright, I think that the picture here is probably her talking to her father, or just looking at him. I don't know. This next one is titled Failure. The Emperor has not restored Papa's status, but soldiers guard our house. They are not here to protect us, but to make sure Papa does not leave Prague. A month has passed since Papa's return. He remains distant, but at least he does not completely ignore us. Though he works ceaselessly. I walk through the open doorway of Papa's study, the platter Mama has prepared for him in my hands, and stop. Papa sits on the floor and begins to howl. I drop the platter, and its contents splatter across the room. I run to Papa and kneel next to him. He grasps my hand and immediately falls silent. Papa's nails dig into the flesh of my hand. I bite my lip to suppress a cry. He suddenly raises a tight fist in front of my face. I close my eyes. I cannot do it. Papa's voice is bleak, desperate. Not enough. Not even a handful left. I look at him. Tears run down his ashen face. Slowly, as if revealing a priceless treasure, he opens his fist. In the palm of his wrinkled hand is a tiny bit of red dust. Curse you, D. Confinement is the next one. Papa works without rest, even though he keeps saying he has already failed us. He has not slept in weeks, and he barely eats. He is but a shell of the man I once knew. Mama shakes me out of my dreams. Elizabeth, soldiers are coming. I do not react immediately, for I am used to soldiers guarding our house. I look outside. There is a column of young men in uniform in our yard. Their torches cast dancing shadows upon their faces. Monsters of Prague. I open the front door. An officer and 6 stern-faced men step inside. The officer clears his throat. By order of... No. Mama darts forward, tears streaming down her cheeks. I hold her back. You cannot take him away. You cannot. Not again. The soldier's eyes widen. Papa walks towards us, his face twisted in a demonic grimace. He murmurs a prayer in the strange tongue only he seems to understand. The officer tries to reason with Papa, howling. Papa jumps on him, clawing his face. A soldier strikes his head and he falls. Mama wails as they take him away. Next one's titled Tumble. I am 16 years old, and some of the guards in Nevin Castle have taken an interest in me. They insist on making conversation every time I visit Papa. None of them interest me. Most are boorish cretins. Others are more bedraggled than hogs in mud-filled sties. But I always smile and remain courteous. I take a deep breath when in the distance I spot Nevin's tower. I try not to think of the babbling louse I will have to confront before seeing Papa. What is this? A cross at the top of the tower? I walk more briskly. Then my heart stops. Papa, he stands on the edge of the tower, arms wide open. I run toward the castle. I see Papa clearly now, a skeleton in tattered robes. He stares at me. No, not me, but beyond. You have come. Free me, divine messenger. Free me. Papa raises his hands to the sky as if praying. Heavenly guardian, guide my fall. He jumps off the tower. I support Papa's broken body. He bleeds profusely, but holds my gaze. His demons no longer haunt him. D was wise. He exhales his last breath. Divinities is the next. News of Queen Elizabeth's death reaches Prague. The Virgin Queen, after which I have been named, has passed away 1 month after my wedding. Prague, 1587, 1608 CE, Elizabeth Jane Weston. Next we have Tribute. A knock at the door disturbs my thoughts. I lift my head from the blank page on my desk and put my quill down. Come in. Johannes, my husband, steps into my study. A tussock of raven hair brushes his face as he lowers his head. How remarkably formal of him. He apologizes for disturbing me while I work. I frown, feign annoyance, but fail to suppress a thin smile. I seem incapable of writing today. Johannes's face lights up. His thumb absently caresses the ivory handle of his cane. A package has arrived. It is addressed to Lady Beth. Lady Beth? Only Uncle John calls me thus. I have not heard from him in years. I run out of the room and hurry down the stairs as I used to when I was little. Ignoring the letter accompanying the package, I quickly peel off the layers of cloth covering what I assume to be a frame painting. The painting depicts the Virgin Queen, 2 ladies in waiting behind her, standing in front of 3 goddesses. How thoughtful of Uncle John. And there's the painting, and Elizabeth and her husband standing there. 3 goddesses is the next one. Johannes and I stare at the painting, mesmerized, magnificent, my eyes then fixed on the verse engraved upon its frame. Johannes contemplates every last detail, every tiny stroke, every subtle hue. Master Johannes Leo, husband, jurist, and connoisseur. See what lies on the ground. Johannes points a finger, first at a golden scepter, then at a quiver of arrows, and finally at fallen robes. Juno, Minerva, and Venus. Johannes shakes his head, laughing quietly. He had not expected me to answer. He should know better. Oh, Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite. Johannes's nose is 2 inches from the painting. The three goddesses whose beauty Paris judged. I remember the story well, having read it several times. This painting is an allegory. My husband says I suspect otherwise, but do not contradict him. There is something familiar about the painting. Is this? Yes, the golden orb, identical to the one I found Uncle John's room when I was a child. Fairy Queen is next. She must be reading the letter here. She skipped it before, so... I sit in my study alone, staring at the painting Uncle John has given me. My hands tremble as my fingers brush the edge of the dry wax seal. The dry wax sealing his scroll. I carefully break the scroll's seal and unroll it. I immediately recognize Uncle John's penmanship. Lady Beth, it begins. I smile, for I am still fond of the private name Uncle John used to address me. Fairest and most noble of poetesses, please accept this humble gift from your not so humble friend and mentor. Uncle John is much more than that. He is family, a second father to me. I hope you will find it a fitting tribute for your betrothal. I laugh quietly. I had never expected to receive such a splendid gift. If you observe the composition, you will surely recognize the trinket you once unearthed in my chamber. The golden orb. I knew it. You may think this picture a riddle, an allegory, an artist's fancy. It is not. The object in the hand of the Fairy Queen is real. So is its power. And so are the goddesses. And then it says data stream terminated. Holy cow. That's a lot. So it's saying that these guys over in Prague, they had one of the apples and they used it, and there was some dust. I noticed some red dust that was turning things into gold, and a book, this time a silver book though, I don't know. We've never seen a silver book before, I don't think. Everything seems to be gold when it comes to the ancient civilization. But yeah, back in Prague, all that time ago, these guys knew how to use it. They used it. They figured out that Minerva and Juno and all those people were real. And yeah, and then it seems that there was some sort of disagreement with Papa and Uncle John. John left, keeping everybody safe. Without the book or the object, Papa couldn't get by. He couldn't do anything for the Emperor. He was on house arrest. Everything was going downhill, and then finally he killed himself. Probably seeing that nothing was going his way after that. So that's unfortunate. Like at a loss or whatever. Anyways, we're going to end the episode here. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, please do comment, like, dislike if you didn't like, subscribe if you're feeling like it. You know, do all the YouTube things that YouTube just wants you to do. And we'll probably end up starting next time at the next computer that we're going to hack. So take care, and bye for now.